All right, let's talk about relationships. When it comes to love, have you ever noticed how the advice we get seems to pull us in two completely different directions? On one side, you have this timeless wisdom about giving, but on the other, modern psychology is always telling us, hey, you gotta focus on yourself first. So, which one is it? Let's see if we can unravel this thing together.
So here's the fundamental clash, right? You've got the classical rule that says real, lasting happiness comes from putting others first, giving love freely. But then there's the modern rule, which says, hang on, you can't pour from an empty cup. You absolutely have to love yourself before you can give anything to anyone else. They really do seem like they're in a total cage match.
But here's a thought. What if we're looking at this all wrong? What if this isn't an either-or situation? What if these two ideas aren't enemies at all, but they're actually two critical parts of the exact same cycle of personal growth? That's the big idea we're going to dig into today.
So let's jump into our first perspective, and this one frames love in a way you might not expect. It treats it less like a feeling and more like a resource, almost like a marketplace.
Now, pay attention to how incredibly specific this definition is. It's not about how you feel. It's not about that warm, fuzzy sensation. The only thing that matters, the only measure of success, is whether the other person's happiness has actually gone up. The focus is completely, 100% on them. That is a pretty radical thought.
And this is where the marketplace paradox really kicks in. I mean, think about it. If love is a thing you can get, and every single person is trying to get it, the whole system just collapses. You can't have a market with only customers and no one making the products. The supply just dries up. It's a total system failure. So that leads us to the most important question, doesn't it? If the system desperately needs producers, well, how do you become one? Where does the supply of love even come from? Well, according to this school of thought, there are basically two ways. First, there's the easy path. This is for people who've received a lot of love. For them, it's just natural to pass it on. It's a positive cycle. But then, there's the hard path. This is for those of us who maybe started with a bit of a deficit. You have to choose to become a source of love, not because it's what you know, but as a pure act of conscious will. Now this right here is the big twist. This is a game changer. The idea is that your ability to be loved has nothing to do with what you've received in the past. It's all about what you are actively giving out right now. By focusing on making others happy, you, in turn, become lovable. You essentially create your own positive feedback loop. Okay, but let's be real for a second. That hard path sounds, well, hard. How are you supposed to just give something from an empty cup? And that brings us perfectly to our second big idea, which argues that to even know what's in your cup, you have to understand yourself first. And you just can't do that alone. It's such a perfect metaphor, isn't it? You can't read the label from inside the bottle. We're so deep inside our own heads, our own habits, our own ways of seeing the world that we literally can't see ourselves objectively. To get any real clarity, we need something on the outside. We need a mirror. And often, that mirror shows up as something called a reverse illuminator. Now, this isn't your best friend who agrees with everything you say. A lot of the time, it's that person you clash with, the one who pushes your buttons. Their different way of thinking acts like a spotlight that shines right back on you, showing you the true shape of your own beliefs. And why is that? It's because self-awareness isn't something you just discover on a solo retreat. It's fundamentally relative. Think about it. You only know you're tall when you're standing next to someone short. You only realize how stubborn you are when you're dealing with someone who's super flexible. We discover who we are in contrast to other people. This perspective then takes it one step further by completely reframing life's frustrations. Those difficult people, those challenging jobs, they're not bugs in the system, they are features. They are the whetstone, the abrasive surface you're meant to sharpen yourself against, to polish your own character. Just imagine that for a second. The constant friction that probably felt like torture at the time was, looking back, the very thing that forced the most growth. That difficult boss wasn't just some random obstacle, he was a tool for development. Pretty powerful reframe, huh? Okay, so we've got these two really powerful ideas. One's about giving love outward to create more of it. The other is about using other people as a mirror to understand ourselves. They seem pretty separate, but now, let's bring them together and see how they create one unified cycle. Here's how it all connects. It's actually a beautiful process. Step 1, you use other people, especially the tough ones, as that mirror to get a clear look at yourself. Step 2, that new self-awareness lets you finally see what you actually need. Then, for step 3, you take that definition of giving love and you aim it right back at yourself. You actively work to make yourself happier. That creates a genuine energy surplus. And then finally, from that place of fullness, you just let it naturally overflow to others.
And it is so important to get this next part. This is not selfishness. Not at all. This is strategy. It's about building a sustainable foundation so you can be genuinely generous. I mean, we've all felt it. Giving when you're empty just leads to resentment and burnout. But giving from a surplus, that's real, it's joyful, and you can do it forever.
So, how can we make this powerful cycle a real thing in our lives? It all starts with a very simple, very practical daily check-in.
I want you to start thinking about your emotional energy like a bank account. At any given moment, you're either in surplus or you're in deficit. A surplus means you're feeling full, energized, and you've actually got something to give. A deficit? That means you're drained, depleted, and you really need to focus on refilling the tank. It's that simple.
So, I want you to do it right now. Just take a quick, honest inventory. What's your energy balance today? Are you feeling full and ready to go, or are you kind of running on fumes? Your answer is going to tell you exactly what to do next.
Okay, so based on that answer, let's wrap this all up with one final, actionable question for you to take with you.
And this is really the whole thing in a nutshell. If you just realized you're in a deficit, your job is clear. What is one specific way you can give love to yourself tomorrow to start filling that cup? And if you're in surplus, awesome. Your question is, how can you consciously let some of that amazing energy overflow and help make someone else's day a little bit better? It all starts with knowing where you stand.